Yep. Hey guys, my name is Lou Puschelberg, and I'm here with Nielsen Corner Sofrata. We are just, oh yeah, thank you, Nielsen.
There we go.
Or maybe we should actually switch to this. So we are just going to do a quick audio and video test just to make sure everything is clear. So we know the event doesn't start until 7 p.m. Pacific time, but Nielsen and I are going to just hang out here and just kind of make sure everything's technically is working, hear from you guys, just kind of talk about what's been happening in VR lately. We've got our colleague Liz Haluwage working in the background. So Liz is actually going, we've got a little digital whiteboard going. So why don't you guys let us know where you're from? Looks like we've got 28 people tuned in right now. So we're in Vancouver, Canada. Where are you guys from? So throw it in the chat, and then Liz is going to pass that information on to us so we can actually see what you guys are writing in the chat during the stream. But anyways, Nielsen's got the Mira headset on, which is not that well known, but really cool.
New headset, mobile-based augmented reality. You can put your iPhone into the headset and essentially do what the HoloLens does, but for cheaper. The HoloLens is a $5,000 AR headset, so not the most accessible.
And how much is that?
100.
$100.
I don't work for them. I like it. It's fun to play with.
Because it looks cool.
I think they're actually sold out. They sold out of their original pre-order.
They do Kickstarter?
No, I think it was just a pre-order they kind of had going. But nice. The first round sold out. I think they're gonna start working on making some new ones and some improvements to the API.
So is Mira a startup hardware company?
Yeah. I think they're actually based out of my alma mater, USC.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I knew a couple people working on it, and yeah, I think just like how mobile VR kind of helped kickstart the VR industry, get more headsets out there. Mobile AR could be also a possibility in the future. So
yeah, I mean it's.
I'm not gonna wear this the whole night, though.
He's just showing it off. Mira, if you're listening, you owe him.
I already have a headset. I don't know what they can give me. This
yeah, we've got the Mira here tonight. We've got the Vive here.
The fireside chat. I'll leave it on for now.
Yeah, leave it on for the fireside chat.
Yeah, the fans love it.
So where are you guys from? Let us know. Do we have anyone tuning in here?
No worries. Whiteboard. Yeah,
okay.
This MacBook right here.
We've got someone from Boston. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in from the East Coast. I know it's almost 10 p.m. for you guys. Louisville, Kentucky, Vancouver, and Montreal. So sweet. Someone's in the same city as us. Denver. Awesome. Yeah, right on. So we've got. Looks like we've got U.S. Looks like we got Canada. Like we said, we're in Vancouver. We got Australia. Boom. Whereabouts in Australia?
Yeah, let's get some
Australia?
more information.
Does Australia have a VR scene? Here,
well, I'm a game developer. I know they have a pretty good game scene. I know there's a lot of independent mobile game developers there.
Yeah, in Sydney?
Yeah, actually Melbourne, I think.
Melbourne, yeah, cool.
I could be wrong. Maybe correct me. You don't have to correct me. But
cool.
Okay, hold up. I'm going to open up.
So big news in VR this week. If you guys follow virtual reality news, like if you want to check out Road to VR or VR Focus or Upload, one of the big stories that I saw this week was that PSVR hit 2 million units in sales, which is really, really cool. We're going to talk a bit about sales figures later in the presentation. What time is it? Okay, about 5 minutes.
Time.
But PSVR hit 2 million sales. Oculus and Vive collectively have at least 1 million sales. They may also be approaching some higher numbers. So that's great. So in terms of kind of high definition VR, like desktop VR, console VR, we're looking at about 3 million headsets minimum today, which is really cool.
And that's not counting mobile.
Not counting mobile.
Yeah, not counting mobile.
Yeah.
Which I actually work on. So that's my bread and butter is mobile VR. The Daydream, the Gear VR, stuff like that. And the Oculus Go, I don't know, that doesn't count as mobile, but that's the standalone.
Yeah.
The Oculus standalone headset.
Yeah. Not too long ago, Facebook and Oculus, Facebook owns Oculus, announced a new headset called Oculus Go. Oculus Go, I think, is $200, so it's going to be a standalone VR headset. Again, if you guys are listening, like, let us know, what virtual reality headsets do you have? Or are you interested in augmented reality? Maybe you have none, that's totally okay. If you want to get started, you can get started with Google Cardboard or just Android phone or an iPhone. Nielsen has an iPhone.
Yeah, don't go and purchase like an $800 whatever Vive or what have you until you're, You can start smaller. You can start with the cardboard, with your phone, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you already have a headset, it makes it easier.
Yeah, let us know. Does anyone have a HoloLens? Does anyone have an Oculus 5?
Vive. I got both. I got Oculus and Vive.
You have both?
I'm a developer though, so I have to have both.
Microsoft has new VR headsets, like 4 of them, which is really cool.
Yeah, those just got added to Steam VR as well. So if you have Steam, you can play, I think now, games using that headset. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure you can now use any Steam game can now work with the mixed reality headset.
Yeah.
The Windows mixed reality. They call it mixed reality. They're the only ones calling it mixed reality.
So how many headsets then would be, like how many brands would be on the Steam platform? Vive, obviously. Microsoft.
It's just the 3. Yeah. It's the face, the Oculus Rift, the Vive, HTC Vive, and the Windows mixed reality headsets for now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a cross-platform solution, which is nice.
Yeah.
They bring in everybody together.
Yeah. So if you buy any of those VR headsets, you've got lots of content to play, and I guess that makes it good for developers too.
Yeah.
So that way they're just publishing on Steam, and there's no separation.
Yeah, what Unity does well is when you want to send your app or what have you, game or piece to multiple headsets, you're able to build to every single headset, and it works with every single one right now, which is nice. So we'll be going more in detail about Unity later on the presentation. Yeah,
so tonight we're going to dive into Unity, maybe again just to kind of engage you guys for subscribers tuning in. Right here?
Yeah.
So if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're from, and then
it's filling up.
Let us know what virtual reality headsets you have. Let us know if you have any experience
the Acer,
with Unity.
The Acer headset. We left that one out. I'm sorry.
Acer.
But
cool.
I know the Acer. Well, no, is that the same? I can't remember.
Acer is Microsoft, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got some HoloLens people.
HoloLens.
Oculus.
And yeah, also, what are you guys interested in building? Like, we've had some students from crazy diverse backgrounds. So if you guys have an idea for a VR AR app, if you've got like some burning thing, you have this vision, something you want to build, let us know. Drop that in the chat. We'd love to kind of hear that. It's always inspiring for us to hear.
Yeah, I'm working on stuff. I can't tell you about it though, but I am working on stuff.
He's working on some secret projects.
Secret stuff.
What other projects you got going on with students? We talked about the mining one. What are there any other cool ones?
Filmmaking. We got some filmmakers taking the course. Yeah, filmmaking. I think this course, you might not think you could make a film in this course, but say you want to make an interactive film, Unity is actually the software you use to make that. So it's taking an Academy of VR course for that is actually useful. So filmmakers, people making some people are just doing passion projects, right? Things they just want to make.
Yeah.
They're just interested in VR.
You would know a lot about the film, kind of like interactive film scene being in LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or having been in Los Angeles.
Yes. Well,
you submitted.
And Hollywood's catching on to a lot of what interactivity in video games have been doing for a decade now, which is, pretty interesting storytelling, but through an interactive medium. And that's what essentially AR and VR is interactive at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So any sort of story you want to tell, it now has to be interactive. So
yeah.
Video games do have something to say about that sort of conversation.
Yeah. So those you guys
almost 10 or almost.
Yeah, we're about to start probably here in 1 minute. If you're just tuning in now, we haven't officially started. We're just kind of hearing where you guys are from, kind of what ideas you have, what you're interested in learning. Hopefully our video and audio is good and we're loud enough. If we're not, just tell us to speak up in the chat. We have our colleague Liz working in the back end, so we see all your comments. So we got some questions in, so we will be taking questions throughout the workshop. So what do we got here? Sydney Grief owns a Acer B.
Shout out the co-working space.
Shout out the co-working space from Bill Marr.
We're in a co-working space right now.
Yep, we're in a co-working space. Bill Marr is opening a co-working space in Chandler, Arizona. That's awesome. We're in a co-working space in Vancouver.
Yeah, called the Cube. Look us up. We're new.
Okay, so it is officially 7 p.m. Pacific time. So for those of you just tuning on, welcome. We're going to start now sharp at 7. So my name is Lou Puschelberg. I'm the founder of Academy of VR. I'm here with one of our instructors, Nielsen Corner-Safrada. We'll go through a formal introduction shortly. But yeah, for those of you just logging on, welcome. You haven't missed anything. So we're going to dive right in. So like I said, I'm one of the co-founders here at Academy of VR. This is the third VR company that I've helped work on, so hopefully we can kind of lend some advice for anyone who's just beginning in VR. Tonight, between the two of us, we've got a lot of knowledge across VR and AR and Unity, so hopefully we can be helpful for you guys tonight. My personal motto, and really the motto of Academy of VR, of the company, is that your success in VR is our success. So we're trying to work with all of our students to make sure that you guys are pursuing what you want to pursue in VR, and that you're getting into the community, getting your hands dirty, learning what you need to do, and being successful. So along those lines, if you're interested in becoming a developer, designer, content creator, or entrepreneur, we're really trying to enable you in any of those paths. So, the big goal, what's the big vision and mission of Academy of VR? It's that one of our students creates the next global virtual reality application or business, and an application or business that reaches millions of people and customers around the world. So we're in a really exciting time in VR right now, in that it's growing like literally day over day over day, and there's all these new announcements coming out all the time, like just this week with PSVR reaching 2 million headsets in sales, and there's about 1,000 headsets being sold every single day. So today is December 14th. We've got a brand new course starting on December 28th. Between now and then, it's 14 days or 14,000 new VR headsets, customers, users, people who, real people who can actually, use the apps that are being created. So through today's workshop, it's our goal, and through Academy VR, to provide you guys, all of our subscribers tuning in tonight, the tools, like I said, to be a successful, start a successful startup or join one, to build VR AR apps internally to make your company more efficient, start your own consultancy, or to become a virtual reality or augmented reality developer like Nielsen here. So this is a great point. I'm going to let Nielsen...
I'm off camera, hold up.
I'm going to let Nielsen introduce himself.
So I talked a bit before the program started, but I'm an interactive media artist and designer. I've been working in games. It's actually what I studied at USC in Los Angeles. And I've been working in Unity for 6 years now, I think. And more in general, just video games. But my passion's interactivity, so anything interactive, real time. That's kind of my bread and butter. So, the past project I worked on, for example, was a daydream project called Virtual Reality. You can look it up. We're a team called Tender Claws, and we do kind of interactive art projects and games as well. So, my passion is games, but I'd love to introduce everyone to the power of interactivity and also virtual and augmented reality. So, I've been teaching for a bit, and I'd love to teach you. So.
Awesome.
Take it away.
So, so through tonight's workshop, it's Nielsen's and I's
I'm still wearing
goal.
the headset.
Still wearing the mirror headset.
Here, you take it. Sorry.
I'm not going to wear it,
no,
but
come on.
We can put it on later. So it's our goal to, again, help you guys move into that role as a successful, developer, startup, content creator. And really, Nielsen, we're an open book. So if you guys have any questions during tonight's presentation or after, my email is lou@academyofvr.com. So any questions you want to know, just feel free to email me personally, and we'll get back to you, connect you with Nielsen. Other than that, if you want to ask questions, throw them into the chat. Let us know what you want to learn about VR AR. What would be a big win for you? What can we help you learn? So throw it into the chat. We'll make sure we get some answers for you at the end. Great. So what do we do? So a bit of background on Academy of VR. Essentially, we offer courses and corporate training, help people learn how to make virtual reality apps. And what sets us apart from other online courses out there is really that we work one-on-one with all of our students. So there's not many other businesses who take the time to actually work individually with all of their students on their personal ideas in a classroom setting. So that's really what's setting our courses apart from some of the other courses out there. So you might be wondering, what have we done to date? How long have we been around? Academy of VR has been around for about 2 years, and we've taught over 1,000 students to date, both online and offline. We teach all of our courses in a program called Unity. So this is some of the technical stuff that Nielsen is going to get into tonight and give you guys kind of an introduction. And if you're wondering, what is Unity? It's basically a free creation tool for everyone from artists, designers, developers, businesses, and it's the easiest way to begin making apps for augmented reality or virtual reality. So Unity is really a great platform. It's the one-size-fits-all solution. So if you're thinking about getting into VR, AR, that's what we would recommend. It works for the Google Cardboard, Google Daydream, Samsung Gear VR, Oculus, PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, HoloLens, Apple's ARKit. Again, Nielsen is going to give us an introduction baseline for ARKit tonight. Google's AR Core, all the platforms, all the headsets, Unity is compatible. So it's a great starting point. We're going to introduce you to it tonight, provide some resources. The alternate to Unity is Unreal Engine. You can also use Unreal to make virtual reality apps and augmented reality apps, but again, we focus on Unity in the courses, so that's what we're going to focus on tonight. Bit more info about our courses. They run part-time for 10 weeks, 3 hours weekly, plus that 1 hour every week of one-on-one help, which is basically where we become your own personal VR coach, business consultant, mentor, and that's really what sets us apart. Regularly, the courses are priced at $2,500, but remind me at the end of the workshop tonight, we're going to be throwing in a special discount for you guys. So you might be wondering, who's taking these courses? So if any of you have been to New York Airport, they're actually building a brand new terminal in LaGuardia. We're working with an airport designer to actually bring some 3D models of LaGuardia Airport in New York into VR, use it as a training tool for new staff, use it to kind of visualize the architecture and the engineering of the building. We're also working with people like filmmakers, Nelson was mentioning earlier, chemical engineers, web developers, IT professionals, educators, architects, designers. The list goes on and on and on. If you guys don't fit in any of these categories, don't worry, there's lots of different fields. We have lots of smart students coming with really interesting problems and ideas to us all the time, and we're helping them solve these problems in their specific field, whether that's as an individual or as a business. So if you guys do want some more info on that, just visit our website. And again, if you're a little worried, I don't have the skills, I don't know if the timing is right, I'm ready. Nielsen and I are both Canadians, so I have to always say a famous cheesy hockey saying, and that's that you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So you're here because you're interested in VR, so if this is something you want to pursue, whether that's through our courses, whether that's individually, we both would encourage you, go for it. All right, so let's jump into today's outline. So I'm going to start by sharing our story, Academy VR, how we got started, share some insight, more from a business perspective, what some takeaways that we learned helping start 3 VR companies. Nielsen is going to give you guys an introduction, what you need to know to create apps for the HTC Vive, just some basics in Unity, familiarize you guys. So that's the Vive headset here. Then he's going to speak to ARKit, which is Apple's augmented reality platform. Finally, we'll share some next steps, resources, answer questions. Like I mentioned earlier, if you guys have questions, just throw them in the chat. We have our colleague working in the background, so we'll be taking all those classes and or all those questions and answering them at the end of tonight's workshop. So, we're going to share how augmented reality and virtual reality apps are made in Unity. We'll share some insights and then some resources to help you start publishing, developing and publishing your own VR apps eventually. So, what's my story with 3 VR companies? Like many people, it all started with this. The Oculus Kickstarter. This is the DK1. I had bought a used DK2. Did you have a DK1 or DK2?
One, yeah.
So Nielsen had a DK1. I had a DK2. My first VR app that I tried was Surge.
Good choice.
Thank you. And immediately after that, I booked a trip to the 4 biggest virtual reality hubs along the West Coast. So being Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Visiting places like Stanford. This is Stanford's Virtual Human Interaction Lab. Here's me in the lab. That's kind of some of the early days of VR. Also places like USC, which is actually the origin of Oculus, the origin of modern day virtual reality. And this is where Nielsen actually did his studies. So this is a famous researcher from USC named Mark Bolus. And then also at the time, was working for a small startup interviewing other virtual reality companies like Valve, like Oculus. This is Google's office in Venice. Startups like Tiltbrush. And this was all during a time when I was working for this company called Converge. And essentially what Converge was, it was a social kind of VR space. So here I am, this is one of our early events that we had at Google, just to show you how early it was. We only had 58 people in the whole conference, and it was an event just like this, held at Google's office, really in the early days. So kind of during this period, going from Stanford to USC, from down from Seattle, San Francisco, LA, meeting Nilsson, where we had this idea for Academy of VR, and realized that we're clearly on the edge of something with a lot of potential, being virtual reality and augmented reality, but it's still very difficult to learn how to create apps in a seamless way for VR and AR. So we set out on a mission to start teaching classes, and that's exactly what we did. Talked about some of those 1,000 students. These are at some of our classes, some of our other instructors, Jason, Dan, Amanda, where we taught a series of local classes across the country. Jason, the Microsoft Store. So these are all some of the 1,000 students that we've worked with to date. So now we just want to share kind of the second part of our presentation, which is one kind of major insight which we've learned from working in virtual reality, and that's this distinction between enterprise versus consumer. So there's obviously a lot of great entertainment, consumer apps in virtual reality, and where we also see really interesting opportunities is actually on the enterprise or business side. So applications like AusoVR, a company here from Vancouver which is doing surgery training, or Archiact, another company here which offers business solutions, or LNG Studios, right? They're offering business solutions for architects. So everything from commerce to real estate, mining. We have a few of our students working on mining projects for the HoloLens. Safety training. Training in general is a big one in VR. Education, gambling. All these kind of business applications, and we can share some more examples of where we've seen people build successful business applications. But it's a really interesting area of virtual reality and augmented reality to consider. So it's not just about consumer applications. It is also about learning how to build successful business apps. And many of the students who take our course are actually taking it on behalf of their companies or their businesses. And this isn't even talking about design. So what does it mean, UI, UX design? What does it mean when we're actually inside a computer in VR? Awesome. So that's the first part of the presentation. Now I'm going to turn it over to Nilsson for some technical stuff.
Hey,
and
hey
he's
Lou,
gonna...
why does your shirt say Circuit Stream instead of Academy of VR?
So that's a secret. We will let you guys know about that soon. But there's some new info on Circuit Stream coming out. But anyways, I will turn it over now to Nilsson, let him dive into Unity and give you guys an introduction to Unity.
Here's the whiteboard.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Oh, I need a chair. Switch. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a very cursory introduction to Unity. So this is the software that we use and teach in the course. And how to set up your first VR project. I mean, obviously you don't have to follow along right now. I'm just going to illustrate what it looks like to make a project, an AR or VR project in Unity. So I'm actually going to take you through it. You're going to see how I work. I'm going to go through slowly and kind of introduce you to the software. Obviously it might look a little daunting right now, but I'm going to try and piece it apart and take it apart for you and help you learn. Well, the course is ultimately the best way to learn, but I'm going to take you through the cursory introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene in Unity. This is going to be where we start creating kind of our content in our VR world, because I'm going to show you how to use the Vive first. So we're going to make, we call it VR Kit, VR Test. So I'm going to make a VR test scene. So this is it. This is the default scene in Unity. This is what everybody sees when they create a scene right off the bat in Unity without any experience. And you'll see there's a camera and there's a directional light, also known as the sun. It's basically the sun. So I can do things, I can throw objects into the scene, 3D models, and they'll appear in the hierarchy. So I could pick maybe a cube or a sphere. And as soon as I create them and I drag them into the view, you'll see they pop into 3D. So I have my game view, which is what the camera is seeing. The camera, you can think of the camera as your own head in VR. In a video game, it could be the first person, third person. Whatever the camera sees is kind of how the world's rendered. So here's a cube. We're going to throw a floor into, I think. it'd be nice if the world had a floor. And we do that by just going 3D object plane. And then, yeah, you'll see kind of what it looks like to create stuff in here. So I'm going to scale up this floor. I'm going to give this cube some physics. And then we're going to see what happens. It's going to be a bouncy cube. I'm going to add a rigid body. You'll see it has gravity on it right here. And I'm going to add a physics material. We're going to make a bouncy physics material. So I'm going to create a new physics material, call it bouncy. I'm going to create a bouncy cube. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to add bounciness of 1. I'm going to hit play. And then let's see what happens. When I hit play, the cube's going to bounce on the ground. And there we go. There's our bouncy cube in Unity. And so what does this have to do with VR? Good question. What it does have to do with VR is you'll see I didn't add any VR support, yet I'm already able to put on this headset and look around the world. You'll see that my first-person perspective and camera views are already updating with supporting the Vive headset right now. So without any computer programming experience or any sort of design experience, I already have a fully functioning VR application, albeit not a very interactive one. But I have a bouncy cube and a VR head, so we're doing pretty good within the space of about 2 minutes, I think. So I'm going to throw in the hands now. You're probably wondering, well, what about the hands? What about the hands? So we're going to go to the asset store. One of the most interesting things about creating 3D programs and applications these days is there's a lot of robust tools that other people are making that you can pull into your projects. So the people who make the Vive headset, Steam, they also make, well, the company's Valve. Steam VR is their VR package. So what we can do is we can go to the asset store in Unity here. I'll make that maybe full screen so you can see it a bit better. No, I'm not. Never mind. And I can type in Steam VR. And what's going to pop up here is this plugin called Steam VR plugin. So feasibly, if you had Unity open right now, you had a Vive sitting on your desk or any sort of Steam VR compatible headset, and you downloaded this plugin in Unity and imported it like this, this would actually allow you to then use the Vive in Unity with the controller inputs and everything. So it's already imported into our project. I don't need to hit this import button because it's already in there. But what I can do is this folder right here is what was imported. And you'll see under this prefab folder, prefabs are a way to think about objects that have already been bundled and created that we can then take and put into our game. You'll see there's this thing called camera rig. So I'm going to drag the camera rig into my scene. You'll see that little square appears. And that just added a full camera and controller rig that then I can use in Unity. So I'm going to delete the old camera that I had before. And I'm going to hit play. And you're going to see that my controllers are now already in Unity. And that's without me having to program anything, which is nice because programming is something you're going to be taught in the course. But when things are done for you, it's even better, I think. Because I like working quickly and not having to worry about everything, right? So the controllers are in there. So for the interactivity part, I'm going to show you how to, for example, grab the cube, right? We want to actually be able to interact with this world. So I'm going to go ahead and move the cube a bit closer to me so I'm able to grab it, because then I have to walk across the room. Move it probably right around. That looks good. And there's some scripts we actually have in this project as well that have been coded for us. And these are scripts that you'll learn how to code yourself in the course. But I'm actually just going to open them already without picking them apart for you. So in the scripts folder, I have something called a VR interactable object, pickup object. I'm going to drag that onto the cube. You'll see it's just a drag and drop. So I'm just picking it up, dragging it, putting it on the cube. And now it has a script attached to it. You'll see in the right-hand side of the window, this is what's called the inspector in Unity, that this script is now attached onto the cube itself, along with a few other components. And similarly for the hands, I want the hands to be able to get the input of the triggers on the controller. So I'm going to add 2 more scripts. I'm going to add 1 script for each hand. I'm going to add a VR input script, Vive, to the left hand, and another one to the right hand. You'll see that Unity actually already has all these different types of, quote, hands. So in the future, when there's more eye tracking, head tracking, all these different types of trackings, I know it sounds a bit worrisome, but fear not, we can choose what part of the body we want to track. It's kind of funny. It's a bit morbid looking at it this way, or not morbid, but we're going to pick left hand instead of left eye, because right now if we pick left eye, nothing's going to happen. So I'm going to add VR input, and I'm going to track my right and left hands. And this is how Unity actually has it set up. This is not our programming. This is Unity's programming at this point. Unity provides these different types of trackings for us. So I got the right hand. I got the left hand. Am I forgetting anything? Probably not. Oh yeah, I am. I'm going to quickly add colliders to the hands, because the hands themselves, even though they're rendered right now and you can see them, they don't have a physical property attached to them. So I just need to quickly add a collider. I can just search collider, and now it's thrown a box for each one. I'll probably make it a bit smaller quickly. And then I'm going to make it what's called a trigger. And then I'm just, obviously rifling through this because you don't really need to quite understand the minutia of it now. But I'm going to also add a rigid body. So what we've done is our hands now have physical properties. They're aware of when they're going to pass through into the cube, and they're going to pick up the object when I press the trigger. So let's find that cube. I don't know where that cube's going to be. Here, perfect. It's a huge cube. Absolutely massive cube. So you'll see it turns yellow when I get close to it. That's going to tell me I can pick it up. And then look at that. We have a gigantic yellow cube that I can toss around. Now, it doesn't have any physical properties other than the fact that it's bouncy. But yeah, we got a bouncy cube.
So someone's asking, could you equally do this for Oculus?
Yes, Oculus is also compatible just like this is. And of course, you'll be able to use any device you want. And even if you don't have a device, we have debug tools so that you can learn how to do this without a device at hand. And this is still useful for AR. Even if you're using AR and you learn how to script something like this, it's not going to hurt you to learn this stuff. Okay, so that's the gist. I've shown you in probably, 5 minutes? I can't keep track of time. 5 minutes, how to do a simple grab and how to do some simple VR stuff in Unity without programming, which is kind of useful because if you have zero programming experience, you'll learn how to do it in this course, but you can also survive without a big programming background. So let's open a different scene. Instead of this default one we just made, let's open up a scene that someone else has made. And this is a forest scene. So you'll see that if I just throw on my headset and look around this scene, wow, I'm in VR already. I'm in a different world. I know it doesn't look like much because you're looking through my perspective, but let me tell you, when you're looking through a VR headset, having the depth and everything in front of you is, it's very special to have the stereoscopic vision that VR allows you. So without further ado, I'm going to pick up this bow on the ground, and here we go. This is an interactable bow that I can then shoot these poor apples over here, which thankfully aren't standing on someone's head. But yeah, this is an example of some simple interactions that you can do in VR, and I don't think they'll ever come down if I shoot them straight up. But yeah, this is an example scene, and this is probably made with, I didn't make this, but this is probably made with Unity Asset Store assets. So this is stuff that, for example, art that someone else has made that someone's brought into Unity and then used. There's a lot of stuff out there that you can take advantage of, especially with stuff like Google Blocks coming out. There's a lot of free 3D objects that are floating around these days. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's it for VR on the Unity side. Yeah. And then I'm going to take you through AR quickly. So I'm going to catch my breath. I'm going to stop shooting these arrows around. And I'm going to put down the VR headset for a second.
And that's like a game. How would you use that for, like, say, business app?
Oh yeah, sure. So yeah, we've been showing off games and enterprise and not enterprise solutions for VR, but we have people in the course who are doing visualizations, simulations, ways of using VR for more practical purposes that actually help. Usually simulation's the most common example. Being able to see and interact with something that would otherwise be too costly to then replicate in real life, and it's cheaper to replicate in a virtual simulation. So don't be put off by the sparkling water and the low poly trees. There's also more practical real world applications of this software, and even more so with AR in the future. I think they both have a lot of more serious use cases. So I have my iPhone here. This is my personal iPhone, so I'm trusting it to be part of the demo tonight, which is good. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run through a blank scene, and I'm going to import some things into the scene that's going to help ARKit track the world. So before I kind of do all that, maybe I'll just take a minute to explain the difference between VR and AR, or virtual and augmented reality. Where was the mirror headset? Okay, so the way you can think of the difference is with a VR headset, your vision is completely occluded. You can't see through the headset, right? Your virtual world completely replaces your current one. With an augmented reality headset, and you don't even need a headset, you can also just use your phone, but the world still exists beyond the headset. You can see I'm looking through a pane of glass right now. But what happens is, in a headset like this, is that virtual objects are imposed onto the real world, and through a lens or through a headset or what have you, or through a phone, I'm able to see those virtual objects overlaid onto my reality. So it's not opaque, it's kind of transparent and translucent, and I'm able to interact with the real world and other people without having kind of the restrictive aspects of virtual reality. A few people have kind of described this as a spectrum. So we have our reality, and then as objects, opaque, opaque, opaque. We keep adding objects on top of our reality. We reach the point of VR. So we have the reality on one spectrum, then VR at the other. AR can lie in between that spectrum from normal reality to virtual reality based on how much it's replacing your current reality with virtual objects. Okay, so on to AR. And we're not going to be using this today. This is the Mira headset, but you're allowed to use this, obviously. I'm just going to be using my phone to demo AR for this session right now. So, new scene. Blank slate yet again. And actually, do I want to do a blank scene? Okay, yes, I do. AR test. I'm going to drag in a different prefab. So I'm not going to be using ARKit today. I'm still going to be using an iPhone. Unity is releasing what's called AR interface, which is a way to do cross-platform AR between Android and iOS. So what I'm going to do is unreleased. It's experimental, so you can download it right now if you wanted to. But what this does is at least allows us to make AR applications that work on both AR Core and ARKit. AR Core is Android's AR, and ARKit is iOS's AR. So I have a prefab, and I'm not going to save this. And I'm going to throw the prefab into this scene. It's called AR, threw it in the wrong folder, AR root, next to mushroom avatar 1. Okay, so I'm going to delete the normal camera that we have in the test scene. I'm going to add my favorite cube again. And what we can do with the phone and Unity, this is not going to run off the phone right now. Obviously, when you make your application, you build it onto the phone, and it exists solely on the phone. I'm going to show you what it's like to work in tandem with Unity to create augmented reality apps. And you'll see I have a camera now with a lot of scripts on it that all have the name AR kind of sitting in front of them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use my phone, using a remote controller on my phone. I'm going to tap the phone into Unity, and you're going to be able to see that using my phone, I'm able to track the world that I'm seeing right here. I'm going to be able to actually see the virtual cube and track the camera, use the camera to look around the scene. So just like how my VR headset before was looking at the scene and allowing me to turn, you'll see those dots appear. What are those dots? Those dots are the real world points that the camera on my phone is using to track the world. So it's using those points as hooks to say, this object's here, and when I rotate my camera, I can look around. So it doesn't look like much right now, but what we can do is we can go back to that nature scene, and you can see that I can use my camera to move around that scene. So obviously this is does not have the video feed from the phone overlaid onto the world right now, but I'm going to go back to the nature scene and kind of show you what it's like to use the camera on your phone to control the world of the app that you're in. So I'm just I already have the object imported into the scene, and I'm going to relaunch the remote on my phone. I'm going to hit play. And as long as I connect my phone and start the application, you can see that my phone here, and I think I'm hopefully in the right spot, you can see that I can actually look closer and zoom in on the scene and kind of use it as like a tabletop, right? And so this would be overlaid, if we had built this onto the phone, this would be overlaid on top of our existing world. So this forest would exist on your coffee table, on your bedroom floor, anywhere like that. And it's used to interact with the real world while also simulating something virtual. So, my phone itself right now is just actually showing video of the real world. But you'll see that in Unity, it's showing a virtual world. So you can kind of see how the two are colliding right now. It's very interesting. And I don't know if the camera actually focused. We'll never know. So that's AR. That's AR. And there's a lot more devices that we didn't quite cover. There's the HoloLens, there's the Mira one that I showed you, and there's the mobile AR. We obviously try and teach and include everybody who wants to do whatever AR or VR application you're using. It doesn't matter what headset. All the principles still apply of AR and VR. And the best practices that we teach you will help you develop any application no matter what technology you're using. So yeah, that was my 15-minute quick run through on Unity. I hope that was helpful, but obviously the full course will give you the better rundown than my 15-minute one. So thank you.
Awesome.
Take it away.
Oops. Awesome. So thanks a lot, Nielsen. Hopefully you guys learn some kind of technical overview of using Unity to create VR and AR apps from Nielsen. Like he mentioned at the beginning, he's been doing this for a long time. a lot, many of our students learn a lot from him. Many of our peers learn a lot from him. He really is very strong in Unity. So thank you, Nilsson. So now I'm going to jump back to the slides, and hopefully, it's our goal through this workshop by providing technical information and some resources and some kind of ways for you to think about pursuing VR and AR as a business, that Academy of VR can give you the information and give you the tools to be successful in whatever virtual reality or augmented reality venture you're trying to move into. So, as you can see, Unity is pretty much the umbrella that covers all these different headsets. So if you're, again, interested in diving into VR or AR, Unity is the tool that we recommend using, whether that's for mobile VR, Google Cardboard, Daydream, Samsung Gear VR on the left, Oculus, Steam VR. Everything works with Unity, including augmented reality. So iPhone, Android, Microsoft HoloLens. It's usually just Unity plus a few other tools. And we're going to send this out. We'll share the slides at the end of today's presentation. And we'll share links to all these resources so that you guys can download them and get started today. So now I want to share some industry info again. So if, from a perspective, if you're looking at the VR market, that you guys have some kind of statistics and some ways to think about, where there might be opportunities. VR job postings were up over 800% last year. So there's a bunch of companies hiring people as VR developers or designers, content creators, storytellers. We'll share some of those with you. And we're really at kind of the beginning of the technology's life cycle. So if you guys remember those old ginormous cell phones that were like the size of bricks and you could smash a window with, that's where we're at in the technology's evolution. We're just a few generations in. We're nowhere near the iPhone or the touchscreen yet. Most major companies, everything from Apple to Disney to Sony, have some sort of virtual reality or augmented reality division. And even if they don't have headsets, are usually hiring, like I said, designers, developers, content creators. Amazon is a perfect example, big tech company. They don't have a headset, but yet they have virtual reality and augmented reality job postings for something secret that they're working on. So where's this starting point? If you guys are thinking about mobile virtual reality, which is really Nilsson's expertise and Nilsson's specialty, this is by far the biggest part of the VR market. So this is ground zero. This is where you start. There's 15 million mobile headsets sold. That's between Google Cardboard, Samsung Gear VR, and Google Daydream along the left-hand side. And more mobile headsets are coming online and getting sold every single day. Literally during this webinar, as we teach our courses, more and more people are getting access to VR. On the other side of the fence, we spoke earlier about how PlayStation released last week that 2 million PSVRs have been sold. There's at least 1 million Vives and Oculuses out there, maybe more, so that gives you, roughly 3 million headsets. Like I said, there's about 1,000 new headsets coming online every day, so between now and the 28th, it's about 14,000 new headsets. So I think you guys can tell how excited we are. That's because as more headsets come on, the VR community's opportunity grows, your opportunity grows, Nilsson's, Academy of VR's. It's really an exciting place to be. And this is just virtual reality. So when it comes to augmented reality, there's over 300 million iPhones out there. So I hope you guys can tell how passionate I am about this and Nilsson is. It's because it's really an exciting place to be right now. So talking about some of those companies, again, we'll share a link to all of these at the end of tonight's session. But there's over 1,800 companies, big and small, working in virtual reality and augmented reality. This is just a snapshot of some of them. Some of the partners that we work with, everything from Oculus to Vive, and then smaller companies, startups, studios, mid-sized companies, Archiac, Clouded, Big Screen, a whole range of companies who are hiring virtual reality, augmented reality developers. So like we said earlier, Nilsson gave an introduction to Unity, which is what we focus on in the courses. Unity is really the kind of leading creation tool, the industry standard for virtual reality and augmented reality. We had some people ask about, where can we download Unity? And if you guys have questions, keep them coming. So just go to unity3d.com. Unity is free, so you don't need to pay for any software. There's also a lot of free tutorials that you can get access to on Unity. So that's what we would recommend. These are some of the tutorials that we would recommend starting with. Again, we'll share this at the end of the lecture tonight so you guys can actually download Unity, get started with some of their free tutorials, and be on your way. If you like what you've heard tonight and you prefer learning in more of a classroom environment where you're working with people, professional instructors, you have someone to ask when you run into problems or you have questions. If that's your learning style, we have an online virtual reality course. It's 10 weeks. So again, the benefits of that are that it's taught live, kind of from beginner through intermediate to an advanced level, depending on where you're at. It's hands-on, you're working one-on-one on your own personal project or idea, and then we have a certification for people who complete the course. In the 10-week course, we really dive deeper into Unity. Obviously tonight, we only have an hour, so we're just kind of scratching the surface. We dive deeper into C#, which is the core virtual reality programming language. And as I mentioned earlier, it's 3 hours weekly, plus 1 hour of one-on-one help, where we basically become your personal VR coach, consultant, business mentor, whatever it may be, every week. We have 2 streams, so one for newbies, so have no fear, and then another for people with programming experience who try to cater to both levels. There's no previous experience to the course, so if this is something, again, you want to dive into, we'd love to talk to you, and it's compatible both Mac and Windows, so either of your computers are going to work just fine. We've had participants work on any of the major headsets, so I just want to say you don't need a fancy, amazing computer to get started in VR, AR. You don't actually even need a headset. You can simulate that in play mode in Unity, but if you do want to use a Google Cardboard, or if you have a Vive, Oculus, if you have an iPhone, if you're a business, you have a HoloLens, we're compatible to work with any of the major headsets. There are only 4 spots available for the course beginning December 28th. Those spots will fill up quickly. And I mentioned earlier in tonight's workshop that we're going to be sharing a special price with you guys. If you sign up before December 21st, which is a week from today, you're going to be saving $2,000. So we'll be dropping, or $500, pardon me. So quick overview, $2,500, you're saving $500. Workshop discount is going to be $2,000 for the course, 10-week course, live online, if you register before December 21st. We do have a 6 and 12-month financing plan. We know it's a big lump sum. We've taken boot camps, online courses, master's degrees, all that sort of thing ourselves, so we can break that payment up into smaller chunks. And again, that's $500 before December 21st. So all you have to do to register, if you are interested in the course, like I mentioned earlier, we encourage you, whether it's through us or personally in your own network, to jump in, dive into VR. That old hockey saying again, like, if you don't do this now, if you don't take the shot, you're gonna miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So we encourage you, whatever kind of vein that you're pursuing VR and AR, go for it, dive into it. If you do like learning classroom style with someone on the other end to ask your questions to, we'd love to have you, open arms. So if that's something you want to register, just go to our site, click on courses, and then we need to place a $75 deposit to actually confirm your spot for the course. The course is starting on December 28th, again in January. So again, if you want to confirm, reserve one of those last 4 spots, just go online and place that $75 deposit. I'll leave my email up. If it's kind of, you have general questions, about anything virtual reality or augmented reality related, just feel free. Truly, like, we're an open book. We're happy to kind of share and give you guys starting points. So feel free to email me anytime at lou@academyvr.com. What Nielsen and I are going to do now is we have a list of your questions. So our first question looks like is from Alex Bott. So
put the mirror back on.
He's going to put the mirror headset back on. We are going to hang out and just go through the questions. So what I'll do is, oops.
And I got the whiteboard here if you want as well.
I'll just maximize this. I might just put it up in the top corner.
Looking good. Okay.
And I'll leave this up. Questions? Leave my email up now. But so Nielsen and I are going to take questions, and maybe we can just read off the first name and then read the question and then answer it.
Also in general, I might just talk about Unity quickly. It seemed that I didn't quite go over what Unity does or what kind of package it is. There's confusion about what Unity is. Traditionally, it's a video game engine. However, because of the explosion of interactive and real-time technologies like AR and VR, you can think of it really as just a place to create your interactive apps, software, what have you. So don't think just apps, think software, think games, any sort of package that you want to put on any sort of platform. So
architecture apps.
Yeah, exactly. But stuff that builds to Macs, PCs, Linux, iPhones, Android phones, really like even Apple TV, stuff like that. Any platform Unity can build to it. So it's a place that you take, for example, all of your 3D assets, stuff you script and code, and you bring it all into Unity. If you're like a sound designer, you can bring sound design in. Any sort of discipline or sort of technology you can bring into Unity and compile it and create it into a cohesive experience. I just showed you what the Unity editor looks like, but once you're done your project, it actually deploys onto the phone or the computer or whatever device, what have you. So that's what Unity is in itself, and you can look up Unity more in detail on your own time. But that's, I think, pretty succinct answer. So anyone asking about that, hopefully that covers kind of what your question was about Unity specifically, so we can kind of move on past those questions.
So question number 1 from Alex Bott. Maybe I'll let you answer this one. But Alex Bott is asking, does it help to know computer vision to be a developer?
So computer vision is the technology that augmented reality uses to see and track the world. Computer vision is a lot of things actually, but the great thing about a lot of the companies moving into the space is that we use their technology and we use their APIs and packages to create our own applications. That's shorthand for saying you don't need to know the specifics of how AR or VR work under, behind the scenes, behind the curtain. We can just take advantage of the technology that's already been made. So you don't, for example, need to know computer vision in order to work in an AR or VR environment. Unity bundles that and packages that together so that you don't have to worry about those specifics. So you really don't need to be a programmer to work in this space. Eventually you do have to learn programming to script your own project, but you wouldn't have to build AR or VR from the ground up yourself, obviously. Right. So short answer is no, you don't.
So question number 2 from ST. Are the headsets reliant on a high-end PC, or is it independent in terms of hardware dependency related to scaling? So maybe I'll start and you can kind of add anything I miss. But so ST is asking, are the headsets reliant on a high-end PC? So ST, it really depends on which headset you need. Like for example, to just work in Unity, like if you just want to get started with Unity either on your own or through a course like ours or someone else's, you could literally start on MacBook. Nelson's got his MacBook. You could start on your PC laptop or on a desktop, Windows or Mac, doesn't matter. You don't need a headset. You could start any old laptop. If you want to start on Google Cardboard, augmented reality, so iPhone or Android, again, you can really use, you don't need a high-powered computer, and you don't need a headset. If you want to work on the Vive or Oculus, that's where you would need to invest in a computer, but it's definitely not a necessity.
Yeah. So Vive and Oculus would be defined as the high-end VR headsets that really do use a lot of computing power, but everything else doesn't actually require that much. Having a faster computer just helps you have a faster, kind of smoother experience in Unity, but it's not a must-have. So next question.
Question number 3 from the Bill Marr, and shout out to Bill. Bill's actually one of our current students. So Bill, thanks for tuning into the intro workshop tonight. And Bill's asking, what about VRTK? And I'll let you.
So you're using,
VRTK.
I think you mean the VR toolkit is what I'm assuming that's shorthand for.
Yeah.
That's a Unity asset store package, right? So just like how Steam VR was brought into Unity using the asset store, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're referring to another asset store package that you can use, right? So that's your choice if you want to use those asset store packages. The problem is you don't learn necessarily what's going on behind them. So they're useful for certain things, but we're going to teach you how to do a bit of the basics. And then if your own project wants to take advantage of things like there's Newton VR as well as another one I've used in the past, and VRTK, you can use those as well. But those are asset store packages that basically accelerate your dev time. So if you want to use those, that's totally fine. But we obviously still want to teach some fundamental skills that VRTK would essentially not teach you if we were to only use that in the course.
Awesome, thanks, Nelson. Question number 4 is also from Alex Bott, and Alex is asking, can we use Python with Unity?
And I think Alex, you had a few questions about programming. You weren't a big fan of C#, I thought I saw. The short answer is no. Python is not like a core language to Unity. I've seen ways that you can somehow kind of use your Python code in Unity, but really C# is probably the best way to interact with Unity. If you really love Python that much, man, I'm sure you can make it work. Yeah, short answer, we'll be doing C#. Yeah.
And I think C# is kind of like, if Unity is the default and the industry standard, then C# is as well. So it might be. Yeah,
and it's better than the C++ for Unreal. Like Unreal makes you either use visual programming like Blueprint, or makes you do C++, which is not that friendly, right? I think C# is a more friendly alternative. If you're on the other end where you're such a skilled programmer that you think C# is a lousy language, well, then that's a different problem. But but for newcomers, C# I think is fine.
Question number 5 from Ziong Xiao is, how do you open Unity and start a project?
So Unity, available, I believe unity3d.com. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, as soon as you download that package, it's a fairly big one. It's a few gigs. But once you wrestle that open, begin a new project, it'll prompt you with a display saying start new project, create new project. Then you'll be kind of at the starting point that I showed you, where you might want to look at things on the asset store. If you're really going for it right now and you want to start tonight, well then definitely maybe check some YouTube tutorials on the very basics of Unity if you can't wait for the course to start. Otherwise, in the course, we'll go through the very basics of how to open Unity. So don't worry about that quite yet, unless you want to start tonight.
Awesome. Jeff Chung is asking, how do we create animations with augmented reality?
So in terms of ways of framing Unity, I saw some people also asking, how do I import my 3D animations or 3D models into Unity? Yeah, so animations, anything you make in any 3D modeling package can be brought into Unity. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. But even 2D animations, right? Any sort of movie file, animation file, 3D file can be brought into Unity and then can be put into VR or AR. All that matters is that it's compatible with Unity and you can bring it in. So you can use your own animation package as long as Unity can read that animation into some sort of video file or something that it can use on its end to then put into the AR or VR project. So yeah, think like 3ds Max, Blender, whatever you use, Maya. Those things can all be export those creations to Unity.
Awesome, thanks, Nelson. So okay, so this question's from Victor, and I think Victor was kind of asking this during the virtual reality demonstration, but Victor asked, how much does the demo process vary for doing it in augmented reality? I think he's just asking about the demo process for doing augmented reality in Unity versus virtual reality, or just the process.
Yeah,
I guess.
And I think, and from a design standpoint, they do very different things. So yes, the process changes in that you won't necessarily making the same thing that you do in VR and AR. So maybe I'm framing the question a bit incorrect there, but yeah, I showed me bringing in the packages into Unity and getting them up and running. But past that point, the projects diverge in a big way because the way that you're interacting with the world is so different, right? AR, you're interacting with the real world, but also virtual objects overlaid onto it, whereas VR is completely a virtual world. So yeah, past the original start point, it diverges quite a lot. It varies a lot.
Awesome. The next question is from Desert Bro. And Desert Bro said, I have $0, so I'd like to try something for Google Cardboard that I can see on my smartphone. Desert Bro, you're in luck. You can get a Google Cardboard almost for free, very, very cheap. Like Nelson recommended, get started with some YouTube tutorials. Go on Unity's website, take some of Unity's tutorials. You can get started, no problem, with $0. It's all good.
Yeah, and for sure, try as many current Google Cardboard apps you can out there. Like the New York Times has a great one, and there's a lot of really cool VR film and interactive Google Cardboard apps that you can pull inspiration from, and you can think about what you want to create in the course for Google Cardboard. Yeah,
I would also recommend an app called Google Design Labs. Have you tried that?
Mm-hmm.
Google Design Labs, really, it's a good app just to give kind of perspective on good VR design. Okay, Matt Davis said, I'm very interested in this course. Awesome, thank you, Matt. But I'm worried my lack of programming experience will make it difficult. Will I learn to build scripts in Unity and C#, or will a foundational knowledge be required? So I'll let Nilsson speak to this a bit more, Matt.
No,
but,
you go for it. You can get that one.
The course actually, we don't have any prerequisites. So obviously some experience in Unity and C# programming is going to help, but it's not a requirement. So as long as you're willing to learn some programming, learn C#, learn Unity, which is essentially what it takes to build your ideas in VR and AR, then you'll be fine. And we've had a lot of people with no experience, but they're comfortable navigating using a computer, as long as you invest and you have that will to learn, we can help you learn the skills needed. So everything takes time. There's no golden ticket, but we have a great team of people like Nilsson who have the knowledge to provide you with that knowledge, with the tools, and kind of coach you along the way to get there.
So I can take the next two questions. Andy Knight asks how to develop for Daydream or Gear VR without a controller. There's things you can do in the Unity editor, like use a mouse to simulate a controller. Obviously it makes it a bit more difficult, and you won't get the true feel for what it will be like to eventually make your app into a controller app. But in the meantime, if you need to develop, you can simulate things in the editor that would simulate the existence of a controller. But for sure, when you seriously do start considering developing and creating something, and down the line, you eventually need to invest in the technology so you can test it. But there's always ways of skirting that and debugging it and testing it before that point. So no worries about that. And the other question was asking Weirbear asks, do the worlds compile out of Unity to an exe? Yeah, if you're on a PC, then you can make an exe file. If you're on a Mac, it spits out a .app file, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, Unity is just the editor, and then you eventually compile out of Unity into a package, some sort of package.
Question number 13 is from Matt Davis, and Matt's asking, I've tried getting my PSVR to talk with Unity for development. Is this possible? So he's asking, does a PlayStation VR work with Unity? And I just lost it. How simple is it to... Okay, so then it's a two-part question. So maybe you can talk to PSVR first.
PSVR, I think you might be out of luck with that one at the moment. You'd have to have probably a PlayStation dev kit with PSVR. And so yeah, that would be tough to hook up to Unity for sure. I don't think there's a solution for that currently. But I worked with Daydream, so I can talk to the Gear VR point, which is, it's quite easy to iteratively test and build to the Gear VR. And you can also, like I said, use tools so that Unity can simulate your head, so you don't always have to be working in the headset. Because to be honest, actually working in the headset is a lot of effort. So when you're making most of your apps, you actually want to be working mostly in Unity with a faked mouse debug to use your mouse to look around the world. So you do both, right? You don't just only work exclusively in the headset. You work both in and out of it. So simple. I mean, everyone does it the same way, right? So you can decide how simple that really is. But yeah, I think it's pretty seamless. Good question.
Next question we have is back from Yaying Zhang, and Yaying Zhang is asking, why can't we have the real world scene on Unity real time? So what I think you're asking is...
Maybe the AR one, actually. Why the AR view wasn't overlaid?
Yeah.
Was that what you're
getting at? I think that's what he was asking. Yeah. So you can actually have the camera from your iPhone or Android showing in real time, and you can have that pass through camera. The Vive also has a camera right here where you can actually see the real world. We just weren't demonstrating that tonight, but that's definitely a possibility. That's kind of the whole idea behind augmented reality, and Nilsson was kind of explaining that you go from totally occlusion, virtual reality, through to reality, and in the middle there's augmented reality where you see both.
Yeah, we were using the phone as a debug tool, so it wasn't set up to overlay the video at the time. I could definitely plug one of my apps and show you what it looks like on the phone right now, but I won't. But you're right. Most of the time, actually, you are working with both the real world and the Unity scene at the same time. We just, in this current instance, weren't doing that. Just to demonstrate kind of similarities between computer vision and how you interact with the scene using your phone. But most of the time, you're right. You have the real world view overlaid over. That is the whole point of augmented reality, after all. So you are correct.
Junran Lei is asking, any experience or options with Meta 2? Any comparison for AR headsets?
I haven't worked a whole lot with AR. Maybe you can speak to that more, but I haven't actually used the Meta 2 myself. I've used the HoloLens exclusively. So I don't want to give a recommendation on which one you should buy. That's not quite our place to do, but yeah, that might be for you to figure out. I don't know if you have experiences you can share.
I have nothing.
So I apologize for that.
Yeah, I've
got
never
the Mira.
seen anyone who's used the Meta. Maybe one day we'll get a Meta. Maybe Academy VR will get a Meta.
Yeah, I'm sure you can go online. The problem with going online for these arguments is people have such differing opinions. Really, there's no objective answer for what's the best. A lot of people online discuss it and spend a lot of time theorizing what the best headset or AR or VR experience is. So you can try and form an opinion, but ultimately you do have to test it somehow. So yeah.
Awesome. So next question is from Daniel Lopez de Medrano. So Daniel Lopez is asking, can I import a Maya rig into Unity? Maya is a 3D modeling software. Or would I have to animate in Maya and then import that OBJ or FBX file into Unity?
Yeah, you export it. Yeah. So you'd export it to an FBX or object file and then just throw it into Unity. Yeah. There are ways of animating in Unity itself, but ultimately Maya is a more robust tool, so you really want to keep the animation in that package and then bring it over. Sorry, we skipped one. Oh no, actually, well, that's been covered kind of. I think that's okay. Okay, yeah, no, we'll keep rolling through.
Okay, Matt Davis is asking, does Mira, which is the headset that Nielsen has on right now, use a smartphone to project images, or is it an AIO system?
They're gonna think I work for Mira because I'm showing it all off the whole time. But okay, this is here. The iPhone slides into the Mira. Look at that! Wow, I'm definitely a Mira marketing agent, no doubt. And then the phone uses its camera to track the world. So the front-facing camera of the iPhone shoots down into the world. It tracks the world. And then right now I have an image displayed in the headset, which you can't see. Well, maybe you can see.
Maybe to put it really close to
the
camera.
No. It's dependent on your head. But yeah, that's how it works. So there's the Mira. I feel like I should be getting paid for sponsoring Mira right now, but I'm not. So yeah, Mira is a mobile-based AR solution headset.
Number 19 is from Yaying Zhang again. He said, I never saw Amazon posting virtual reality or augmented reality jobs. Yaying Zhang, send me an email at lou@academyofvr.com. I will find that Amazon job posting. It was actually like 3 or 4 postings, so I'll find those and send them to you.
We'll get you hired.
Yeah, we'll get you hired. So yeah, just email me, lou@academyofvr.com. I know that job posting is there somewhere, so I'll find it for you. Okay, next question is from Bionic Media.
Well, actually, yeah, let's go to this. Well, okay, so that one you were asking, sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but you were asking what designing is like in Unity. So, are you applying flat textures and images to 3D objects? So yes, like in terms of how you would 3D model an object, it's just as like how you would use any other 3D package. It takes any sort of objects that have been 3D modeled, you can apply textures to them, you can animate those textures, you can make cool shaders and materials. Really anything you need to do visually, you can do in Unity by bringing in other 3D objects from 3D packages into Unity. So yeah. Sorry for trying to cut you off. But yeah, Unity is a 3D package at the end of the day, and you can make 2D things too, but 2D things don't translate well into AR and VR because it's kind of, it's a 3D medium, so I wouldn't encourage you to try and make anything two-dimensional in AR or VR. It might be a waste of time, and we don't want to waste your time. So this question's for you, Lou. I'm going to grab water. Do you want a water? I'm going to grab a water.
Sure.
My voice is going.
Okay, so the next question is, Matt Davis is asking, can you tune into both beginner and advanced streams of the course? Yeah, so we'll, kind of depending on each section, we could have you both in beginner and advanced. Again, we give kind of beginner people we try to work a bit slower with, where advanced people we try to give them some, extra challenges and bonuses to keep them kind of motivated. So yes, Matt, so you could kind of play in both, beginner and advanced depending on your experience. Ziyang Zhao is also asking, do you provide financial aid? So yes, so for the 10-week course, there is a financing plan. So if you want to break that payment up, we do have a 6-month and a 12-month financing plan. Oops, I'm just going to move this up a bit.
You got scooch. There you go.
Oh yeah, sweet. So yeah, so we do have a financing plan. We do provide financial aid. And then a similar question to that, Yaying Zhang is asking, is that US dollars or Canadian dollars? So the awesome thing for any Americans tuning in tonight is that we're in Vancouver, Canada. So the course is actually priced in Canadian dollars. So if you're living in the US, you're going to save roughly about 20% on the price of the course. And that's just because the exchange rate between US and Canadian. So after the discount, again, which is before December 21st, so 7 days for one of those remaining spots, it's $2,000 Canadian. So roughly 1,600 US.
No.
Awesome. Victor is asking, is it 2K plus tax? So depending on where you are. So if you're Canadian, we do charge the proper tax. If you are living in the US, it's just $2,000 flat. So that's including tax. Okay, next question we have is from Wavelet Liu. And before I jump into Wavelet's question, again, if you guys do have any other kind of questions about the tax or about the pricing, just feel free to reach out. My email is there at the bottom, so send me a note and we can connect. I can answer kind of any of the the financing plan questions about the course in detail. So Wavelet Liu is asking, we'd like to do some 3D visualization on a HoloLens based stream or database. 3D visualization on HoloLens based on some stream database. Is that a good scenario for augmented reality?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say yes. Data visualization or 3D visualization. Yeah, there's some really cool examples of that. Yeah.
HoloLens,
AR is great for that. It just depends. The biggest part is how do you visualize it, right? So when you have something augmented in the reality, where are you placing it in the world? Do you have a spot you'd like to put it? On a table, on a wall? What kind of position are you trying to put the visualization into the real and virtual world? So, yeah, give it a shot. Start looking up, other 3D visualizations in AR, and yeah, start thinking of ideas.
Yeah, if you want to ask some, be curious too to know kind of what business goal that you have in mind for that, or kind of what vertical you're working in. So, Wavelet, if you want to get in contact, just feel free to email me, and we can connect with Nielsen and kind of scope out that idea a bit more. So, Andy Knight is asking, I'm currently developing a project for a film studio. That's awesome. That's super cool. I work here in Vancouver, nice, same city, and I'm building all my 3D assets in Maya and want to import them into Unity. Is there a limit on the resolution for mobile?
That's a big yes. Yeah. For mobile platforms, you can't make as detailed 3D worlds. So yeah, you'd want, in terms of lighting and texture, space and resolution and vertex count, all those things, they do decrease on mobile, because one of the most important things in VR is having a consistent frame rate. You want to make sure that it's not lagging or anything, because it can cause motion sickness, which is a big design consideration in VR. So yeah, in short, you do have to always be conscious of those sort of things when making VR and AR apps. You want them to run as smoothly as possible. And that's all the stuff you can work with and around. It's just a design constraint. But you can see examples of some pretty beautiful stuff on mobile AR. My game included, obviously.
Yeah, go check out virtual reality. Award-winning game that he worked on.
Google's best VR experience of 2017. You need a Google Daydream though.
So virtual reality on the Google Play Store.
I had to.
On the App Store too?
Just the Android.
Just Android
Just
Store.
the Google Play Store. Yeah.
So if you have an Android phone,
check it out.
Huge plug here.
Give us a 1-star on the store. Only 8 people have so far. We have 205 stars, so it won't make a dent.
Download Nielsen's game. Yeah, seriously, check it out. Virtual reality. Looks really good.
Or don't. Next question, go.
Okay, next question
I'm
from
bad at plugging things.
Funku Forbes. That's an awesome name. Since you have a relationship with Oculus, do you have any discounts on the gear? That's a great question. And we've had that conversation with Oculus, with Vive. To be honest, none of the major headsets manufacturers give discounts on their gear. That's pretty much universal. So we don't have any discounts. Sorry, I wish I could say we did.
But the holiday season is coming up.
But
there might be some discounts already on the way. Actually,
yes,
there have been. I've seen some discounts. So
yeah, I think PSVR is down to I want to say $299, and Oculus.
And they just did a major Oculus price drop.
They just dropped
here, so Oculus is cheaper than ever for sure.
Yeah, they just dropped Oculus's price by $200.
Yeah,
and Vive too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good time if you want to get a Rift or a Vive.
Yes.
Okay, Giriaj AR is asking, if an augmented reality app does not need any 3D objects, but is only playing a video or populating some text info when focusing the camera on a physical object, do you suggest Unity or some other tool?
That's a good question. I mean, if you want to make your own tech, that's perfectly fine. Unity is able to pull in all the different AR and VR, kind of packages together in a succinct way that allows you to port it to other platforms. So the only reason why I plug Unity so hard is because if you want to make an AR app for more than just the HoloLens or just the Android platform, you can target more platforms than you usually could if you made your own technology. So for sure, you can use other tools. We don't want to try and block you from using other tools. That's not the intention. But the reason why Unity is so widely used is because they support so many different kinds of platforms. So if you have a specific platform in mind, then feel free to use other tools, but the course itself will go in depth into Unity specifically. So good question. If you have the know-how, use anything you want really. But Unity can use video and text as well if you need to use that. That's no problem. So you can make those in Unity as well.
Cool. Nilofar, it's a hard last name to say. Kodu Babashek. Is there an equivalent of Apple AR kit for Android? So yeah, great question, Nilofar. The equivalent is called AR Core. So if you just do type into Google AR Core, that is basically Android's equivalent. So whereas AR Kit is Apple and iOS, AR Core is Google and Android. Next question is from Mr. Nice Guy 000. Is PlayStation VR headset compatible with a computer? No.
Yeah, I give a no answer. If that's wrong, feel free to look it up. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not currently supported on the PC.
Yeah.
But that could change. Like I said, Unity does its best to try and make everything compatible. But I'm guessing it's probably hard to get that tech to work with a computer at the moment.
Let us know why you're. It's a kind of a strange question. So let us know, Mr. Nice Guy, why you're interested in connecting PSVR to. Computer.
I'm guessing it's because you already have a PlayStation headset and you want to develop on the computer with it. I think the reason why it might not is because Sony might not want you to play with your PlayStation VR on your computer, because then you'd be using your PlayStation less. So there might be some conflicts of interest there.
Yes.
That we are out of our hands essentially.
Giriraj AR again is asking, does Unity provide support to create augmented reality experiences for the web?
Those frameworks are under development right now, and most web VR and AR Unity doesn't support because they're too experimental and they're not robust enough to bother supporting yet. So currently, no. You can do that on using your own toolkit, but right now you have to deploy it as an app or as a downloadable package or something like that. In the future, obviously, I think most things will be hosted on the web, but to my experience, you can't do this yet. I think Mozilla is doing the most work in terms of web, AR and VR.
Yep.
So no, currently not. I don't believe so. But good question, because I think the web is the prime space for moving these technologies in the future.
Yep. So if you're interested in the web, just do Google search web VR, or you can search for A-Frame is Mozilla's platform.
Yeah. Next
question from Bionic Media: can you bring models from SketchUp into Unity?
I'm just gonna nod my head. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely possible. Yep.
SketchUp is like an architectural kind of software.
Yeah. It's actually how I learned a 3D model as well, man. It's a great tool. It's definitely doable. There's a game that just released in AR called Nog, and actually all the 3D models were made using SketchUp. Cool. But it looks beautiful.
Cool.
GNOG, Nog. Look it up. It's great.
Another 5-star that one.
5-star that one. It's 5-starable. It's really good.
Next question is from BY Bear again. These questions are awesome, guys. Keep them coming. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If you're a bit shy, again, just my email's there, lewdacademyvr.com. You can always send us questions privately too. But BY Bear is asking, are there tutorials for integrating video from a 360-degree camera with Unity and virtual reality or augmented reality hardware? So yeah, I'm sure there's lots of tutorials, YouTube, Google,
yep.
To integrate 360 video with Unity. Lots of people use Unity and then integrate it with 360 video, so that's like, you know, video of the real world.
Yep.
I don't know, do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not doing something interactive, you don't necessarily need to bring your videos into Unity, but Unity can like sort and make your videos kind of more interactable. So yeah, definitely look that up. I don't know what camera you have to make 360, 100-degree videos, or what camera you're using, but yeah, it's compatible. As long as you have the video file and it's all stitched together correctly, then yes.
Cool. James Leonard is asking Unity versus Blender in VR/AR, and not sure I fully understand the question, but I think Unity, it wouldn't be Unity versus Blender, and for those of you who don't know,
they're mesh, they're friends.
They're together.
It's Unity plus Blender.
Unity plus Blender.
Yeah,
so
they're
Blender is a 3D modeling software like Maya or SketchUp. It's also free, like Unity. Unity's free. So yeah, so Unity plus Blender.
You can make basic primitive shapes like squares and spheres in Unity, but it's not a 3D modeling application. So any other sort of serious 3D models you could either import from the asset store or create in a separate 3D modeling package. But Unity itself is not a dedicated 3D modeling software. So Blender, you would have a way better time. I personally use Blender, so I can vouch for Blender. If you want to make 3D models, there's nothing better.
Bionic Media is asking, will the course cover how to shoot video for virtual reality? So Bionic Media, the course is really focused on Unity. We won't cover how to shoot video for virtual reality, but we do have a lot of filmmakers taking the course and then using some 360 video that they've shot, bringing it into Unity. So if that's a skill or knowledge that you want to add to your tool set, then I think Unity is a good fit for that. But we're really focused on helping you learn how to use Unity to make interactive virtual reality and augmented reality apps, either for yourself, for your business, for some of the films, but we're not so much focused on 360 video. Next question is from Sydney Grief. Doing anything with South by Southwest this year? No, we're not involved with South by Southwest.
I wish I could, but
are you?
I can't say. Maybe I am.
Academy VR, Circuit Stream. We're not. Nielsen might be.
I might be.
He's very secretive. No, not actually. But no, we're not. Sydney Grief. But if you're involved with South by Southwest, shoot me an email at lou@academyvr.com. We'd love to talk. Sounds exciting.
I'll be at Sundance. If you're at Sundance.
There we go, Sydney.
Yeah. If we're doing the film.
You guys can meet up.
Circuit. Yeah.
Okay. Rose Adastra is asking, have you seen the entry-level VR jobs, or should we build a portfolio of personal projects first? You probably know better than I.
Yeah, I think since VR uses the technologies like Unity, you should show a certain level of proficiency in that software. But it really depends what the job is, so I can't answer this question.
There are entry-level VR jobs, though.
Yeah. So I think this course got you kickstarted. I don't think if you don't quite know how to use like a interactive package like Unity, you might want to start kind of getting a grasp on stuff like that, because that's a lot of people's bread and butter. I don't want to discourage you, obviously. If you can find something and they're paying you to learn how to make VR, I'd say go for it as fast as you possibly can. So if you see it, let me know, because I probably have some other people I could pass them on to as well. But I don't want to steal your jobs, but maybe you should answer that one better than I did.
No, it's all good. Yeah, there are entry-level jobs, but like Nielsen said,
it never hurts to have a portfolio. That's
exactly.
For sure. Especially if it's a good one, right?
Exactly. I think a lot of the entry-level jobs, or all jobs, just want to see that you're building stuff and you're creating something. That's again why we focus on this one-on-one time in the course, why we focus on having a personal project is to actually help you build out your portfolio if that's your goal. And actually, again, if it's, to have something in your portfolio, great. If it's to build something for your business, great. Like, we want to help you get hands-on and actually get something made. Great question. Next question is from Catherine. Do you have suggested resolution specs for mobile virtual reality?
Yeah, I can't tell if you're talking about resolution like screen resolution or like 3D model resolution. I'm assuming it's screen resolution, in which case that's just controlled by the phone you're using. So I want to say you're talking about screen resolution. You're talking about model resolution. You don't want to go over, I think, like 150,000 verts or something like that, like in terms of like scene specific stuff. When the phone starts overheating, you'll know you have too much resolution is the short answer. Because one thing that happens a lot with mobile VR is if your app is too intense, your phone's going to overheat. So I don't think I helped with that one. If you can, if you're still here and just want to specify what you mean by suggested resolution, then just throw it into the chat. But the resolution set by the mobile phone itself uses the full screen, right?
Awesome. Andy Knight is asking, what is the best Android phone aside from the Pixel that you guys would recommend? That's hard. I would recommend the Pixel's amazing.
Pixel's good, yeah. Yeah, if you have a Pixel, you're set.
But he's saying besides from the Pixel.
Yeah, I know, you're right. We need to think about this. Shoot.
Maybe like Samsung.
There's only a few that want. Well, I mean, first of all, what you should do is you should look up Daydream supported devices, because the Daydream actually only works with a specific set of Android phones. So anything on that list is what you get to choose from. But anything else that's not on that list can't support Daydream. So you might. But it
depends, right? He might have depends on your headset. You may have a Samsung Gear VR.
Yeah.
Depends on your headset, I guess.
Yeah. The biggest question right now, I think, is the fight that I've seen is between the Pixel and the Samsung 8.
Yeah.
So that's typically what is characterized kind of the top 2 tier Android phones right now. So maybe look into getting the Samsung, because I know that's also now Daydream ready, and it also works with Gear VR too. So. That could actually be a better choice for some people. So look into the Samsung Note 8. What is it, Galaxy 8? Can't remember.
It's Samsung.
Samsung Galaxy 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be a better one. But I'm pretty platform agnostic, so I don't really care what I'm using as long as it gets the job done. So if you're looking for a brand new phone, that's a different question. If you need to upgrade.
Okay. Awesome. Matt Davis is asking, at around what time do you expect the class to meet week to week? Awesome question, Matt. Sorry we didn't cover this. So classes, like I said, it is a part-time class, and it meets Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it meets twice a week, and there's 2 sessions. So you either get to pick the morning session or the evening session, so whatever's more convenient for you. So it's 10 a.m. the morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays, or 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So just check out our website, academyvr.com/course. That has all the times on there, but basically Tuesdays, Thursdays, morning or evening, whatever's going to work best for you. Okay, Mr. Nice Guy 000 again is asking, do you think starting a VR arcade would be a profitable business venture? Honestly, it's a hard question to ask. I know a lot of people have had success with virtual reality arcades. But there's so many variables there. I think it totally could be a profitable business venture if you're in the right location, if you're in the right city, and you can get people coming into the arcade. There's a lot of companies that are just focusing on location-based virtual reality. One example is VR Studios out of Seattle. I have a few friends that work there. Really exciting company, and that's all they're doing is just focus on rolling out kind of VR arcade and location-based places where you can come with your friends and try VR. So I think it's a good idea. It all depends, right? So there's a few variables there. Matt Davis is asking, do I have to move out west to find VR or AR or MR work? Where on the East Coast are there pockets of VR/MR presence? So, I would start by saying you don't have to move out west because, in today's world, a lot of work can be done online, either, remotely, but I guess a lot of the work is done out here too.
If you want a studio, like a studio to work for, and you want to actually be in an actual, that sort of setting, then there are places on the East Coast as well. New York would obviously be
Toronto. There's some VR companies in Toronto.
Montreal. We're Canadian biased. You didn't quite specify.
Boston, if you're in Boston,
but
like look up Boston VR. Boston has a big VR community.
Yeah.
Austin, Texas, I know that's kind of central. Austin is a huge VR company.
Any major city, you probably can't go wrong. And then obviously, as the tech presence in the city varies, so will the AR VR presence. Obviously, it's pretty reliant on either a game industry or some sort of tech industry, so to sort of piggyback off of to get talent from. Because a lot of talent in VR and AR right now is from those sort of sectors. But
yep. DC has a VR community though. Like there are lots of communities.
Yeah, students
on
are from
East
all
Coast.
around North America as well as other places too. But they're from all around. It doesn't necessarily, don't limit yourself by the geographical location.
Bionic Media is asking, my agency will most likely pay for the course. Awesome, we'd love to have you. Can I pay the $75 deposit to reserve my seat? And if I don't get approved, would I get my deposit back? Yes, Bionic Media. So pay the $75 deposit. We'll confirm one of the spots for you. And if it doesn't go well, just shoot me an email. We're happy to return that $75 deposit if it doesn't go through. But we would love to have you, and it's awesome that your agency is going to cover it. So yeah, sounds great. So go for it. Funku Forbes is asking, what percentage of people who take your course are successful in creating apps? That's an awesome question, Funku Forbes. So we don't have a percentage. I'll give you some kind of anecdotal examples though. It all really depends on the student, and we're here for our course participants, whether that's someone taking the course on behalf of their business or whether that's someone who wants to publish their own personal project or idea. We're here for our students and our course participants always. What you invest, that really comes down to you. So we also expect that you put in the time in class and hopefully outside of class to create your application, and the more that you put in, the more that you'll get out. So
if you have an app idea and you bring it to the course, then you'll have pretty substantial progress on that app by the end of the course.
Yeah.
And you're saying app, but I'm assuming you mean app as in like some sort of VR AR application for PC or phone or what have you.
Yep.
So yeah.
So we've had people of varying degrees. Like we've had some people go on after and work for virtual reality companies, both here and in the US. One of our students actually started his own company, so now he's self-publishing his own app through his own company on Steam. Again, we've had some people who have built applications that are now being used in their business. I gave the example earlier of one of our students, he's a truly working professional, came from a company that designed airports. The company, like I was mentioning now, is using that app to design LaGuardia. We have other working professionals who are taking it on behalf of a mining company using virtual reality, augmented reality to basically simulate some of their mines. So yeah, it all depends kind of on your goals, and that differs from person to person.
Yeah. Mr.
Nice Guy is asking, what other augmented reality sets are available that you're aware of? Well, there's
well, there's gonna be more in the future. Right now, we have I think like 4 off the top of my head, which is mobile phone AR, so Android iOS. So
Android iOS.
So that's an AR set. You could think of mobile VR maybe, or mobile AR as one AR set total.
So Apple and Google.
The Meta was brought up earlier. People bring up the Meta and the HoloLens.
Microsoft HoloLens.
I was wearing the Mira, which is a mobile one.
There's also a company, Mr. Nice Guy, called Magic Leap, which is really heavily invested in virtual reality or augmented reality.
Billions of dollars invested.
Billions. So if you haven't heard of Magic Leap, look up Magic Leap.
Sadly, you can't develop for their platform yet. They're kind of in stealth mode. Very stealth.
But they're slowly releasing headsets, I believe.
Yeah. So, and I think the most important option, the one that's most accessible right now is mobile AR. Yeah. Because by next year, you'll have 500 million devices supporting mobile AR. So 500 million phones that you can develop and release apps for is a substantial number.
Yeah. Yeah, when you got Google and Apple behind you too, that's like a big push.
Yeah.
GE is asking. G. I'm based in Canada. No prior knowledge of programming. 39 years old. Is this for me? G. Yeah. I mean.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
What are you worried about? Well, why not? What's going on? We can teach you. Yes.
Make the change.
Yeah. Don't worry. Yes. Obviously, computer proficiency helps. So more familiar with the computer, the faster you pick up the skills. But we're teaching from a starter perspective. The whole point is that if you have no prior knowledge, you'll still learn. So yes.
Awesome, love it. Andy Knight, do you have an opinion on the LG V30? Is that a headset or a phone?
Yeah, I think you asked the phone question earlier. No, I don't actually. Sorry, don't have an opinion for you. I worked exclusively on the Daydream for the time being, which is why I was Daydream with Pixel, the Pixel phone. So I only have experience with that phone at the moment.
LG doesn't have headsets, do they? I was wondering if they have headsets.
Are you talking about the headset? Oh, maybe you're talking about the headset.
No, that's a Lenovo. Sorry.
Lenovo, yeah. Sorry, so no opinion there. Yeah, you'll have to go onto the forums, the dangerous place. You'll have to find some Android forum where people are battling it out on the forums over which is the best.
I hear you sometimes just reading the forums in the office, just laughing.
Yeah. Anyway, nothing about that. Good luck. You're also the filmmaker too. I'm interested why, as a filmmaker, what you're most interested on why you want the best phone. Is it because you want the best screen? Is it so you can watch the video? Is it something like that? Because if you want the best screen, then maybe sort out the best phone with the best screen, right? If you don't need crazy processing power. So food for thought.
Mr. Nice Guy is asking, do you guys know any sort of emulation for various headsets that might be adapted coding?
Ooh, jargon. What is jargon? What is adapted coding? Oh gosh, I'm showing my age. I'm not even that old.
Adapted.
Lossless data compression. Okay. So, obviously if I have to Google your question, it's not a good sign. No, I don't. Sort of emulation for various headsets that might have adapted coding. That's the question I have to come back to.
You stumped us.
You stumped me for now. If you want to elaborate on what you mean and just break down that jargon for a sec, I can probably give you a more coherent answer. Emulation for various headsets. No, yeah, come back to us. Come back to us on that. Fire Lou an email because Lou's better on email.
We'll find it.
Apologies.
Catherine,
you win.
Mr. Nice Guy, he stumped us. Okay, jumping over to Catherine. Catherine is asking, I wanted to ask about texture resolution and poly count limit. So
yes, that varies from project to project and the style of what you're trying to make, right? So if we're talking like photoreal textures, like photogrammetry, tough to get on a mobile phone for sure. I can't list off specific numbers. But you'll have to be smart about texture resolution for sure. You'll have to reuse textures, make sure they're repeating, use as little texture resolution space as possible, and keep the poly count to a reasonable number. So, we're not talking millions of polygons here. We're talking 100,000s. So that range. But it's fine because mobile AR is less about, right, like the high-end PC VR is 6 degrees of freedom, meaning that you're fully immersed in the world. Mobile VR is more for currently seated experiences on couches or chairs. So it's fine because the experience is normally tuned towards more passive play or experiences that don't require you to have necessarily the texture resolution of a top end, for example, PC like video game, right? So you don't need like a beautiful, immaculate video game because you really are the design constraints of mobile VR allow you to not have to worry about having crazy high texture resolution. So you want to design with those design constraints in mind, and that normally lets you arrive at actually a more interesting design than just having something photoreal, right? Unless that's what you need to do, in which case work with us and we can figure something out. people do that too, right?
Yeah, it's a good answer.
But you'll have to keep in mind for sure. Mobile VR, I will say, you do have to keep in mind what you're trying to make because sometimes it's not powerful enough. That's just the truth. We can't teach you to defy the laws of physics and make a beautiful photoreal mobile VR application. Sometimes there are constraints, which is fine. Can we? That's the next package we're going to pitch you.
Bionic Media is asking, is there a promotional code I can enter for the discount? Bionic Media, if you submit that $75 deposit anytime before December 21st, so 1 week from today, we will automatically apply the $500 savings and discount for you. So you don't need a promo code. Don't worry. As soon as you place that deposit, we'll know and we'll automatically apply it. Frank Vasquez is asking, do you know how to make games for Leap Motion?
That's an awesome question because the Leap I think is such a cool technology that's been overlooked. I've used it in the past, and yes, I have. I know that they're actually switching their business model though to not. They're trying to become like an OEM type like device. Like Leap Motion will be built into the device itself. If you have a Leap Motion right now, you know you can get it working in Unity in no time, and it's quite fun to work with. So. Yes, I know how to make games with Leap Motion. Do you is the question, because we can teach you. Yeah, Leap Motion's fun. I'm glad you brought that up. Super underappreciated technology for sure.
Yeah, there hasn't been much news about Leap lately.
No, yeah, I think that's because they're switching. They're pivoting, kind of.
Fair. Matt Davis is asking, wants to know the same. I spent a few years working with hand tracking tech and UI. Okay, so he's kind of asking about Leap as well. Sydney, I'm going to jump to Sydney Grief. Sydney, where did Sydney go? Just lost my place here.
No, we lost your question. Hold on. Okay, we'll have to come back.
Where did Sydney go to the top? Give us 1 sec.
Someone erased the whiteboard. Maybe we answered it.
We're so good at answering.
That might be our last question. We need a confirmation from our behind the scenes staff.
Liz, let us know. If you guys still have questions,
we'll check the stream right now.
We're still hanging out here. Sydney.
Great. Oh, you were just saying great presentation. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you, Sydney.
If you ever get down to Austin, I'm good for some great local BBQ.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay. That's not a question, but that's even better. Okay. Perfect.
Awesome. That's an awesome comment. It makes me want to go to Austin right now. GE is asking, how much? What do I need? When does the course start? Okay, yeah, great question. So how much? So the course is regularly $2,500 course. It's a 10-week course. Because of tonight's workshop that you attended, we're offering you a $500 discount for the full 10-week course, as long as you register before December 21st. So all you have to do to register is visit academyvr.com/course. Click on your preferred time, either Pacific or Eastern, morning or evening, whatever time works best for you, and then place your $75 deposit to confirm one of those last spots. The course is beginning on December 28th, and then again on January 30th. So yeah, hopefully that answers all of your questions. You don't need a special computer. You don't even need a virtual reality headset to start. Any old Windows or Mac laptop will get you started. Do I need any software installed? Yes, so our course is focused on Unity. It's free software. So visit our website, place your $75 deposit, that confirms your spot. Then we'll start getting you set up with what you need in terms of tools, software. If you need a free Google Cardboard headset once you've enrolled, email us. We're happy to send you a free Google Cardboard. That will get you started. That's really all you need. You don't need a lot for the course. You don't need a lot for VR. You can get started literally today with your MacBook or your laptop.
We got my question next, I think.
Yeah, go for it.
From Daniel. Yeah, so the key difference between a software package like Maya and Unity is that Maya, if you want to render out an animation or film in Maya, right, it's rendered. Unity is a real-time software package, which means that you can't pre-compute the lights. So you would recreate in Unity the lighting of your Maya scene, and then that would be generated on the fly. So it would take where the lights are positioned and generate shadows. So it won't have the fidelity of a pre-rendered sequence, but the difference, the payoff, is that you can actually interact with everything in the scene. So you can have the entire Maya scene, animation, textures, bring those into Unity, and then you'll want to do the lighting in Unity. And because it's a different package, so you'll need to kind of get the ins and outs of what materials are like in Unity and how the lighting works. But no, it does change a bit. Having a real-time app for AR and VR is a bit different than having, for example, a Maya rendered sequence. So you can actually import the positions and rotations of the lights, and then you can add those back in Unity. So if you want to save the position of where the light was or animate a light, that's totally fine. But it'll definitely look a little different when you bring it from the 3D package into Unity. It'll change visuals a bit.
Awesome.
And yeah, you can export it to work on your iPhone. Yes, as long as it's not like super. Not too many lights. iPhones are not as fast as your probably very fast PC that I'm guessing you work on for Maya, because iPhones, they're smaller.
Rose Adastra is asking, she said, thanks for answering my previous question. what does this course do that Udacity doesn't? So that's a great question, and really what sets our course apart is that we work with you individually, we work in small class sizes, and then we also work with you one-on-one. So Udacity, no other online course out there, or no other company actually takes the time to invest in your success, and that's something that through Academy VR we're trying to provide you the tools to become a VR designer, developer, use this for your business. So we really take a hands-on approach. We work with all of our students closely. We get to know you. We build a relationship. Then we have those one-on-one sessions. And the other thing that we do is we'll also actually provide you a recorded version of a course that we've built, which is very similar to Udacity. So the difference is that if you like learning with other people and you don't just want to watch recordings, if you like kind of learning classroom style, that's the difference. So we're here, we have people to work with you.
You can ask questions in real time like you are now.
Exactly.
We're gonna tend to you.
Exactly.
Every single question. And
we'll also give you the that recorded course, so you basically get the best of both worlds. Nilofar says, thank you guys. You're welcome, Nilofar. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks everyone for coming. It's been really fun to kind of get some questions tonight and to have people from all over the world tune in. Bionic Media says, thanks. Frank Vasquez, I'm a public high school student. Can I apply for a special membership? Frank, send me an email at lou@academyvr.com and we can talk about what we can do for you. GE is asking, is the course price 2,000 US or 2,000 Canadian? That's in Canadian dollars. So if you're living in the US, it's gonna be roughly 1,600 US. But yeah, that's 2,000 Canadian dollars. So it's actually cheaper. So you're actually saving even more if you're living in the US. Mr. Nice Guy.
You asked the question that stumped us earlier, and you're back for more. You're asking about decoupling, thinking about coupling AR headsets usage with a hands-free device. Yes. Haptic. Well, haptics is different than Leap for sure. So device specific, right? So if you're creating like an AR experience and you want to use a haptic device, like a very unique device, the problem is you're cutting off a lot of your audience. They'll need access to that haptic device as well. If you want to just make something super duper cool, then go for it. Look up some cool haptic custom controllers. You can integrate Leap for sure into Unity with any sort of AR headset because those packages are compatible. So if you want to do hands-free with the Leap plus like a headset like this or the HoloLens or the Meta, those can work together in harmony for sure. And I've seen demos of those, and people actually, I'm sure if you went to the Leap Motion forums and started asking around about the people who produce that, they'd be happy to help you with that sort of integration. The haptic side's more experimental. These controllers, like the Vive controllers, do have haptics on them, and these are kind of the simplest version of that, and we'll see if haptics develop further in the future past this, but right now the Daydream and Gear VR controllers, for example, have no haptics at all. So you'll probably have to pester some hardware people to get you some early developer gear because the haptic stuff is pretty rare nowadays. Get some custom made tech, something like that.
Frank Vasquez is asking if I join the course, what days is the course? The course happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, we got that.
Either in the morning or in the evening. And then Daniel Lopez de Medrano is asking, do you guys happen to have any websites or videos that you recommend that have the most useful Unity scripts for augmented reality and virtual reality? And then he says, thank you, by the way, for this awesome presentation. So we definitely recommend Unity's tutorials are awesome. Unity has a full part of its forum dedicated to virtual reality. YouTube is a great spot. Where do you go to for tutorials?
Yeah, I think for AR and VR, the people who are creating the packages like the Steam VR package and whatever Unity does, they try and put it into their documentation, and they'll usually release some short videos that kind of outline how to use those packages. So typically you can start with people developing those packages in the first place, and then also people from the community who are feeling helpful will also kind of sometimes throw up tutorials on their channels. But
We're also going to send everyone an email after tonight with some resources that we recommend, and like another place is Reddit. So Reddit has a good community, and we'll send a link to those VR communities in Reddit. Yeah, that was one off the top of my head. Like learn VR dev on Reddit.
Yeah, the Unity forums themselves, I'd just say, are a good place to start. Because what happens is if you search a question, normally the first result that pops up is a Unity forums post. So if you have a very specific question, don't hesitate to search it, see what comes up first.
Yeah.
But the Unity forums are super robust, and then, like I said, Steam VR or the Unity documentation itself.
Yeah. GE is asking, does it require a lot of math? I don't think it's math. It's logic, I would say, not math. Would you agree?
Yeah. So and maybe you're talking about programming in general. When you say it, does it require math? Maybe like programming VR AR. I think maybe more like spatial reasoning, right? So because you're dealing with very spatial medium now, you're dealing with your hands, your head. So I think it's very important to be able to think in 3 dimensions and kind of understand kind of how to interact in those spaces and how to design for those spaces. Programming itself, don't worry, honestly just simple addition, multiplication. Because when you're moving or rotating or positioning objects in 3D, a lot of the time when you're coding those, they'll have things to help you do the math for you. So you're not having to break out the vector math. You don't have to break out any algorithms or nothing like that.
Bust out your calculator.
Yeah, no. You'll just be typing like set position, right? Like, and then it will set the position for you to wherever you want it to set it to. So, yeah, I think honestly, if you have some pretty basic arithmetic down, you'll probably be fine. And I honestly don't want to sound like I'm making it sound that simple. Obviously, you're going to be learning a lot, right? You're going to be learning a lot. But that's good, because I don't think if you go through it together, you won't get stumped at any point, because I think it's fairly easy to learn as long as you do it piecemeal. You'll pick up a lot of skills on the way.
Andy Knight just asked, have you heard anything on the Vive 2 release in 2018, wireless version for North America market? The only thing I've heard about is the new, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know anything. Vive did just come out with the new wireless headset, but exclusive to China. They call it Vive Focus, right?
I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, so Vive came out. There's really been nothing. The latest release from Vive, exciting release was like the Knuckles controller, so a new version of this controller. And then I think Vive, bought some companies and filed some patents for wireless VR tech, but there's been no official announcements or leaks as far as I know.
I wouldn't wait to buy a second gen headset when the next gen comes out. The current ones do most of what you need. I mean, obviously it'd be nice to have a wireless one. I would definitely just, if you're looking to buy a headset, not wait for that release point, because I think the tech now is so solid that you're not going to see a crazy leap in technology from now till then. I mean, there's murmurings as well of the Oculus version of a wireless headset, which is the
Santa Cruz, right?
The Santa Cruz prototype. But even that's a year off still. So, I think that'd also be a late 2018 release. So, that's a while from now. And that technology, while it does make it nice to have no wires, I don't think the wires should stop you right now.
Yeah, you get used to the wires.
Yeah, the wires you don't have to worry about too much.
Nielsen, do you want to elaborate on this from Mr. Nice Guy?
The emulator question.
Oh, yeah, or did we already touch on this?
Similar to no, we didn't. So, I mean, the simple answer to this question would just be debugging tools for Unity can allow you to simulate headsets. Maybe is that what you're asking? To elaborate. Similar to hardware. So do you mean a headset that you could change the internal hardware or the internal firmware of the headset? Hardware emulators for
controllers to be used on the PC.
Hardware emulator. Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah. So like I said, you can use a mouse click to simulate, because I think that's really what you're asking, right? You can use a mouse to simulate you turning your head if you move the mouse, right? So if you don't have the certain technology, you can emulate that in Unity. So I think I called it debugging tools or faking it. I didn't use the word emulator, but yeah, it's essentially an emulator. You can create emulators in Unity to simulate different hardware. Yes, for sure.
Parnaz Rad is asking, thanks for your great presentation. No problem, Parnaz. Thanks for tuning in. It's awesome to have you here. You are asking, What sort of skill set do the companies require to hire people in the virtual reality field rather than Unity experts? I'm a 3D animator seeking ways to enter this industry. Again, even if you're an animator or like you're a designer, like understanding Unity and having Unity, even if you're not, say, programming, like as a designer, I think is still a really valuable skill. But at the same time, virtual reality, even as an animator, like things in VR still need to be animated, so that's still a skill that you would need.
Yeah, and you want to, if you have a passion for VR, then start getting involved in it and start understanding the design problems for VR, because just because you're an animator contributing to a project doesn't mean you can't understand how to better animate in a VR kind of project and what kind of things you can do to help a VR designer. The other people on the team you're working with, they want to know that you kind of understand their language, right? They want to be confident in you that you're not just someone who's completely oblivious of the design challenges of VR and what it takes to make a VR app. If you're kind of on the same page as them, you're aware of the design challenges and why you're creating stuff in VR. I think the why is a big question that you have to find out, right? Why what you're making is in VR, and it has to be a pretty important reason. You really want to make sure that your thing stands out in VR, that your animation, your design, your game, your art piece, your enterprise solution, right? It doesn't have to be the most like imaginative or captivating or sci-fi, fantastical, whatever, but you need to have a good reason for why you're making it in AR and VR. And so if you're a 3D animator, you should want to make your animations in VR. You should be excited by that fact. And if you show that passion to someone in the industry, they're going to see it and they're going to want to collaborate with you in that kind of regard.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer.
I hope that was inspiring. I tried really hard.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
No, that was
Be inspired.
That was good. Scott Penner. Scott is asking, I'm looking to make a jump from game dev to AR, VR, indie game dev. Sweet. Cool. If you had to recommend a head-mounted display or test device, what would you choose? Is there anything coming out soon worth waiting for?
Well, so AR and VR is obviously different, right? Because you need, mobile AR or headset AR. So there's not an HMD that captures both at the same time. So if you're talking about HMD, just a VR HMD, if you're not sure, then don't get a high-end VR headset unless you just want to play in VR, right? If you're looking to game in VR, and there's no better place than a Vive or an Oculus. If you're not sure and your phones can run some mobile AR or VR experiences, and grab a cheaper HMD.
Yeah.
I've used both the Vive and Oculus. It's a tough call, man. It's a really tough call. I don't know if I should make that one for you. The Vive, if you have like a big space to play in, the Vive is pretty unparalleled at this time in terms of play area, so the amount of space you can play in. So I do give the Vive big points on that. But the trick is that, just like I said, you need a big play area. The Vive requires a lot of space to set it up in, whereas the Oculus is a nice compact package that sits better on your desk, that works better in that small compact environment. Yeah. So the Oculus still gains big points in my book from that perspective. I think it's still better designed for consumer use.
Yeah.
If you're a developer, then use a Vive because you don't care about the clunkiness of it. But the Vive's a clunkier headset.
Can't really go wrong too, even with mobile VR, between like say Samsung Gear VR and Daydream, just depending on again what type of phone you have. I think they're both like really solid. Just start. Like I think the biggest part is just to start somewhere. You don't have to get the fanciest gear, but start somewhere for sure. Mr. Nice Guy, thank you so much for coming out. Just got your comment. Yeah. Parnaz, thanks guys. You're welcome. Reach out. Questions. Yeah, feel free to reach out if you guys have any additional questions. Again, my email's there, lou@academyofvr.com. Just shoot me a message anytime. We're happy to talk. Yeah, it looks like it's dwindling down. So thanks so much for coming out tonight, guys. Really appreciate your time. Eric Berger just asked one last question. So Eric is asking, what percentage of this course would apply to Apple's AR kit? So Eric, a lot of our course is just focused on Unity fundamentals, so giving you kind of a rounded tool set to be able to work in Unity and produce your own applications in Unity. With that being said, we do have some students who are working exclusively in augmented reality for ARKit. So we would, for you, if you kind of told us at the beginning of the course and said, hey guys, I want to focus my application for ARKit, here's the idea I have, then in your one-on-one sessions each week, we would exclusively work on AR Kit with you. So it's kind of tailored to what device you have and kind of what you want to work on. So if AR Kit is something you want to do, then we can definitely focus on AR Kit in those one-on-one sessions for you.
Yeah, and the most important part is just building best practices for using Unity that you can apply to any sort of application, not just AR, but VR and AR and any sort of type of simulation. So learning the best practices of Unity and how to use it would still help you regardless of if you're doing AR Kit or what have you. So yeah, don't be worried about the platform that you're using. The platform, it does matter, but the one-on-ones help guide that process, whereas the main fundamental class will give you the best practices for you to use towards that.
Yeah, good question though, Eric. Thanks. Okay, we still have some questions coming in here. It's crazy. Thanks for all the awesome questions, guys. Keeps us excited. Princess Rashid is asking, I'm interested in using VR or AR to provide personalized I'm interested in using VR or AR to provide personalized physical training for sports like fencing. Is that possible? Yeah, that's definitely possible, Princess Rashid. I would recommend looking up a company called Striver, S-T-R-I-V-R, Striver. And what they do is they provide use VR for training for professional athletes. So they work with the NFL, they work with the NHL, they work with a range of sports franchises. So look up Striver. You can definitely use VR or AR for physical training. Just all depends on, I guess the
what you're trying to train. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If it's fencing, I think reaction speed would be a huge one, and
fencing would actually be really good.
So with VR, like the reaction speed of having to react to something in VR could help you learn that side. Obviously, I'm not a fencing pro. Maybe I can learn from your application when you build it. That'd probably be there.
You're just a ninja.
I'm just a ninja.
So yeah, if you want to talk details with either Nielsen or I, shoot me an email and we can all get connected and we can kind of deep dive into deeper, what specifically how we would set that up for like a fencing application.
Yep.
So yeah, it's possible. Sydney, good night. Thank you for coming. If you sell it before seats, this offer good for the next class. Sydney, yep, we'll maintain the offer for January if we fill up the course in December. So happy to maintain that offer for you 100%. So yeah, so thanks for coming out tonight. Awesome. So I think that's the last question. So thank you guys so much. Good luck venturing into VR. Like we've been saying, we would love to have you as part of the course if it's a good fit for you, or if not, we welcome you kind of into the community and are happy to offer kind of advice and some starting points either way. So feel free to connect with me. I can put you in touch with Nielsen, and if the course is a good fit, then we would love to have you in it. But regardless, thanks so much for coming out tonight. Hopefully this was helpful. It's been really fun for us. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, to everyone who didn't type in the chat, thank you too for watching, and hope we helped. So best of luck in the future, and stay in touch.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I'll be in touch. Great presentation. All right. So thanks, guys.
Take off the Mira.
Bye-bye, Mira.